Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Gemini season week 2. This week we're talking all about tending the nervous system. I have a lot of information for you today. Like a lot of information for you. We're going to start out in like science class. Bear with me as I attempt to teach you neuroscience. And by the end of the video, we're going to get really witchy and we're going to end up in like divination class. And I have a lot of information for you. So I want to start out by really encouraging you, inviting you to listen to, especially the first half of this lesson, from a very, very soul-centered place. I'm going to be talking about a lot of really heady things like I'm sharing science with you. I'm going to share anatomy with you. I'm going to be talking about some of the parts of the brain and how the nervous system operates. And I want you to be listening from a very soul-centered place. And the phrase, take what you need and leave the rest, has probably never applied more. I want you to hear what I'm saying that's very logical from a soul-centered place and like take notes and reflect on what you think your soul needs to get from it. I hope that makes sense. Yeah, I'm gonna leave that where it is and hop right in. The mantra for this week, I kind of have two again. And as I was researching and writing and just considering, what do I want myself and my students to have just resonating in our minds for this week? You know, that's the intention of the mantra, right? Is something that you kind of just resonates in your mind all week long, that you return to and kind of float around in and just experiment with this mantra for like a week period at a time. And I was thinking, like, what do I want that to be this time? And what came up wasn't so much a mantra as like a check-in, a questions. I want your mantra for the week is, how am I doing? Your mantra for the week is a check-in. Over and over and over and over again, I want you to be checking in with yourself. How am I doing with this? How am I receiving this? Like what is coming up for me? How am I doing? And the second question is, what am I thinking? The phrase for Gemini is I think, and I really want you to be with what is coming up for me. What are you thinking? What is happening to you? I hope that'll make a whole lot more sense by the end of this video. So I'm just going to get there. We're going to hop right into it. Gemini rules the hands, the lungs, and the nervous system. So briefly, just to chat about like the hands and the lungs, which are both twins, right? Just like Gemini is represented by the twins. I want to encourage you to really honor these parts of your body. And when I consider the hands and all that they do for us and all the power that they hold, consider, do you honor your hands or do you use your hands in ways that honor you? So this invites you to consider, like, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing with your hands? What do you use your hands for? Do you use your hands to like massage out the cricks in your neck? I hope so. Do you use your hands to pet your animals and tend to your plants and light candles and draw bubble baths, like whatever? Do you write? Do you create things? Like, how do you use your hands? And how do you use your hands in ways that are not so like helpful and that are not very like that aren't the most aligned with your heart and your head and like your vision of your future self? For me, myself, when after hour like 2 of my hands holding the Switch playing Animal Crossing, there comes a point after a couple hours that's no longer helping me and honoring me and like yeah, just, good for me personally. And it just becomes escapism and like addiction. I really like Animal Crossing. I can't believe how much I fucking like it. What the fuck? I cannot believe how much I like it. But anyway, I had this realization this weekend, like, ooh, my hands could be doing a lot more for me than what I had been. And that's fine. Like, no judgment. I kind of needed to just like be sucked into the couch for a period of time this past weekend. And my point still stands. Are your hands honoring you? And this is not about, and are you honoring your hands? This is not about judgment. And take stock. Kind of evaluate, return to this question all month long. What am I doing with my hands, and is it the best thing I could be doing with my hands? Is it aligned with my head and my heart? And then we're invited to consider the lungs. Later, we're going to be talking about our breath, or our prana, life force energy. We're going to get really, I can't wait. And for now, and all month long, consider that we really get to honor our lungs very intentionally this month. It's a really important time to consider our lungs anyway, considering that we're in the middle of a pandemic of a virus that attacks the lungs. I think we are invited to honor our lungs in a couple of ways. Probably several ways. Do you take full intentional breaths? Do you treat yourself to that when you need it? And do you exhale fully? Like, okay, sorry, that was weird. But we can exhale a lot, and we rarely do. And especially in times of fear, or if we're hypervigilant or anxious or worried, we tend to hold our breath, if not completely, at least a little bit. And I really think that that's, on some level, part of us trying to hold on to our life force energy, hold on to our prana. And it's important. It's waste. It's important to exhale fully because it's CO2. It's waste. You don't want CO2 poisoning. Yeah, we don't consider that very frequently, at least not that I've found. So this month, really experiment with checking in with your breath, being with your breath, and exhaling fully, totally letting go. That being said, we're going to move right into the nervous system. The nervous system is like literally everything. To say that Gemini rules the nervous system is like, okay, wow. Like, it rules fucking everything. The nervous system is responsible for controlling, regulating, and communicating with the body. It's what allows us to know ourselves. It like provides our consciousness. The purpose of the nervous system is to coordinate all the activities of the body and allow us to respond and adapt to our environment. The nervous system is the center of all mental activity, including thought, learning, and memory integration. It keeps us in touch with our environment, both internal and external. And here's what I really want you to consider. How many millions of sensory receptors are within us and working for us? And these receptors detect changes inside and outside that we have no idea what our nervous system is doing on a like day-to-day basis, right? We don't consider like breathing. We don't have to think to breathe, right? We should be intentional with our breath as much as possible. And we don't have to think to breathe. We don't have to think to pump for our heart to pump. Reflexes happen. Our nervous system is always working for us. And it is detecting changes that we have no idea about. Our nervous system can monitor things like temperature, light, and sound from the external environment, right? And inside the body, in the internal environment, the receptors detect variations in things like pressure, pH, carbon dioxide concentration, the levels of various electrolytes, and I would argue that our nervous system is capable of detecting more than we're even aware that it can detect. That short list that I just gave, variations in pressure, pH, carbon dioxide concentration, the levels of various electrolytes. I mean, I'm no neuroscientist. I don't study this shit for a living. And like, it feels like it would be fair to say that there's probably a lot that our bodies pick up on some level that we're not even cognizant of, that like impacts our body, that our bodies react to and adapt to. When an angry person walks into the room, on some level we can feel that, right? We react to that. And what if we're not even very cognizantly or consciously aware of the ways that we're reacting to people and things that go on? We might not even totally be aware of all the ways that our nervous system is working for us and responding to things and encouraging us to adapt to our environment. It's amazing. It's amazing that these things happen, changes in light, changes in pressure, whatever. These things happen, and the data, you know, okay, there's a little spider crawling on your hand, and that's data that gets input and converted into electrical signals called nerve impulses that are transmitted to the brain. And then in the brain, the signals are brought together to create sensations, to produce thought, or to integrate into memory. In the brain is after the electrical impulse sends the message to the brain, we make a decision based on, in a split second, based on that sensory input of the little spider legs crawling on you. That decision-making moment, whether it's to brush it off or whether it's a reflex, that decision-making moment is called integration. And so, based on the sensory input, the data that's coming in, I also like the idea or the example of when you're sitting out in the sun too long, a signal is sent to the brain that your skin can't handle the heat. Hopefully. And then the nervous system responds by sending signals to the muscles, and you react from there. So the nervous system is made up of the brain and the spinal cord. The brain is amazing. Really, that feels so silly to say because it's everything. Like the brain is everything. Our nervous system is everything. And the brain is quite a mystery in a lot of ways. But things like the makeup of the brain and how the frontal lobe is responsible for reasoning and thought, and the parietal lobe is responsible for integrating our sensory information, and there's the occipital lobe that's responsible for integrating like information from the eyes, and the temporal lobe, is that the one I forgot? I'm impressed. Temporal lobe integrates our auditory information. And that's only those 4 lobes that each have a different function is only a tiny part of the brain, the cerebrum. There's so much more to the brain. For example, the thalamus directs sensory impulses to the cerebrum. It's kind of like a like a parking director with the lights and the vest. Go this way. Okay, sorry. The hypothalamus controls and regulates temperature, appetite, water balance, sleep, and blood vessel contraction and dilation, as well as the hypothalamus, along with those things, is also responsible for emotions like fear, anger, pleasure, pain, and affection. So the same part of the brain is responsible for things like regulating temperature, appetite, water balance, sleep, and blood vessel contraction and dilation. That same part of the brain is also responsible for things like anger, fear, pleasure, pain, and affection. Can you tell me that those emotions are not the word pure comes up, but I don't mean pure in like a moralistic way, pure like organic, like those emotions are reactions the way we have an appetite. When we feel anger or fear or pain or pleasure or affection, they're natural processes. I don't know about you, but that gets me fucking excited, and it's beautiful. It reminds me that what comes up for me is natural. When I feel hurt somehow, pain, when I feel upset, it's just a fucking natural reaction. It's my brain, it's the aftermath of my brain interpreting and integrating and experiencing some sort of sensory input. Something happened, and the reaction was pain or anger or fear or whatever. It's pretty fucking cool. And then we have the spinal cord as the other major contributor to what the nervous system is. The spinal cord is the link between the brain and the nerves of the rest of the body. And it's complicated as hell. I don't even think I'm going to go into the details. I thought that it was interesting that the spinal nerves that carry information from the body to the brain are different than the nerves that carry information from the brain to the body. That was really interesting to me. And then just a reminder that things like hypervigilance and fight or flight, that's a reaction of the sympathetic nervous system. It's the sympathetic nervous system working for you. We talked a lot about hypervigilance and fight or flight during Taurus season, and we're still invited to really be working through that in Gemini season. And then we have the parasympathetic nervous system that operates to bring the body back to normal, back to homeostasis after it's been activated. So why bring all this up? Let me take a sip. I found it really important and beautiful to just mention, just to illustrate the tip of the iceberg of what the brain and the spinal cord, the nervous system is and how it operates and what it does. Like I barely scratched the surface with those pitiful notes. Like I would probably get a D- in a science class with those sorts of notes. Like barely scratched the surface, and it's incredible. It's amazing. It's magical. It's a miracle, if you ask me. And I bring up the boring details. I guess it's not boring. I was actually very interested. But like, geez. Anyway, I bring up all of the details to help illustrate how fucking complex it is. How complex this system, in the truest sense of the word system, how complicated this system is that is working for us. Our brain chemistry, which I sometimes interchange with the word ego, our humanness, our brain chemistry is so complicated. So complicated, and it's miraculous. It's impressive. It can be frustrating. All of those things. So when we're talking about our nervous system, we're talking about a lot. It is doing stuff and detecting stuff and sending messages that we're not even aware of, and that I like to think maybe that like medicine isn't even fully aware of the magic that our bodies and our brains hold. All this to say, it really helps illustrate the point that I love so much, that I really believe we're big old babies. We're big old babies. We are, excuse me, we are so complex and yet simple, like basic. We get scared easily, like we like to laugh and play, like we are so complicated, and so many miraculous, amazing things happen within us and for us, and we're simple. Our reactions to things are complicated. The process is complicated, and yet our reactions are simple. You chalk it up pretty simply. Our desires, what we want, are both complicated and it's simple, right? We want to feel loved and safe and secure and a sense of purpose. And that's no small thing. It's complex and it's kind of simple. I believe it's so important and it's important and helpful to address the duality there, to honor how very complex and simple these processes are. So how do we honor these processes more fully? Like how do we attend to the nervous system? Well, I'm gonna take it further back, like 3,000 years ago, and we're traveling to the east. We're going to like ancient Egypt, where medical practitioners at the time described this strange set of like this system of wires, right, that connects our head to like all the other major organs of the body. Like, how do you think ancient Egyptian medical practitioners described this thing that we now know as the nervous system? Right? They probably considered it a system of wires that in our body that connects all of our prana, all of our breath, all of our life force energy, all of our knowing, and supplies it to the rest of the body. Imagine if you were an ancient medical practitioner and you were dissecting a cadaver. Gross. Not for me. Like what would you think? Have you seen a picture of the nervous system lately? Like, look it up. I think that is fitting. And it would make sense that we would consider it a system that connects our life force to the rest of the body. It's a system of the chakras. It follows the chakras, and each vital organ is a point where prana collects. So prana is the Indian equivalent to chi, and it is fitting to call it life force, life energy, energy force, the spirit of all things, the force, vital energy, prana, is within and around us. And it is said that the chakras, which fall along that line of the nervous system, the chakras regulate our internal functions, like the immune system, regulating emotions and allowing us to connect to higher consciousness. So I'm no expert in the chakras. In fact, I did not know that the chakras would be a part of this lesson until I was writing the lesson. And I was told, I hadn't considered that the nervous system and the chakras were like so connected. It makes sense in hindsight. But I don't know a whole lot about the chakras, not a whole lot. And I was typing and writing, and something told me to see if there's a connection between the chakras and the nervous system, and there absolutely is. So all of that to say, I am no expert. You might know more than me about the chakras, and I'm going to quickly review what the 7 chakras are and how it's believed that they operate in our system, because I think marrying the very westernized medical chemistry class ideas of their nervous system, marrying that with these ancient beliefs, Eastern medicine, has been really helpful for me. So I'll hop into it. We start with the root chakra, which is at our root, before our legs. It looks after the spine, the legs, and the feet, the physical body in general. It is believed that it provides us with the basics. It helps provide us with the basics that we need to survive: food, water, stability, security, physical energy, the bottom of Maslow's hierarchy, if you will. When the root chakra is open and balanced, we feel safe and fearless and secure. When there's blockages to the root chakra, it's believed that we'll experience fatigue and fear and or problems with the feet, legs, spine, physical body in general. So root chakra work is important in terms of like overcoming trauma and things like that. Next is the sacral chakra. The sacral chakra, which is just below the navel. I want to say rules, because that's the language that we use for like astrology. I don't know if that's the language that they use. And I'm just going to go with it. It rules the bladder, the kidneys, the reproductive system, and the lower abdomen. It also is responsible for sensuality, creativity, and our emotional body. It's the center for our feelings and sensations. And when the sacral chakra is experiencing blockages, it can cause bladder or pelvic problems. That's how it can kind of manifest. And it can cause us to feel shut off from our feelings and our sensuality and our creativity. Next is the solar plexus, which is in charge of, it rules the stomach, the liver, and the intestines. It's believed that this chakra helps us to live in accordance with our values. It helps us to find our way toward reaching our goals. It kind of helps provide us with our sense of moral code, our sense of integrity. It helps to make sure that we don't stray too far from our path or be influenced by others' opinions. It helps like with our sense of like having a gut. When there's blockages to the solar plexus chakra, it can cause bad digestion, liver and pancreas problems. It can cause us to have difficulty standing up for what we believe in, which then can cause defensiveness. Personal anecdote here. For a while, I was going to acupuncture, and I was like, first of all, I was overwhelmed in my personal life with work and like some family problems. I was very overwhelmed and trying to really find myself and my footing. And I would go to acupuncture, and I told them that I had no appetite, and like I would eat only a portion of what I was used to, and I would feel full. And my acupuncturist said that I was literally fed up emotionally, and so literally I was fed up. And that fits with what the solar plexus chakra invites us to look at. I didn't have a sense of self and standing up for myself. I was really lost in all of my work and all the family problems. And my stomach was telling me so. So I'll get more into that later, but I wanted to share that anecdote now. The fourth chakra is the heart chakra. It's located in the chest. It looks after the heart, the lungs, and the circulatory system. It keeps the heart open and loving. It allows compassion and expression. It's said that it's a purification system for the other chakras, and it allows us to cleanse negative emotions. When open, the heart chakra helps provide our sense of connectedness with the world. It helps us realize that there's beauty in all things. It helps like fuel our capacity for forgiveness, empathy, and love. And when blocked, it can create difficulties relating with other people and connecting with others. It can cause like codependency issues or jealousy issues or feelings of bitterness. And then it's associated with health problems of the heart or lung infections or bronchitis. Next, we have the throat chakra. The throat chakra rules the throat, the thyroid, the neck, and the jaw. This chakra, I don't know why throat chakra is like tongue-tying me. So funny. It helps you find your true, authentic, individual voice. It assists you in expressing what you need to express. It helps with creation, expression. It's said to be connected with career. It connects you with your intuition, or it connects your intuition with like the outside world. When blocked, you can have problems with your speech, like lack of control, not being able to say what you mean or need to say. It can cause you to struggle to listen to others. Fear of being seen or heard, difficulty keeping secrets, or difficulty being honest and truthful. You might tell lies when there's a blockage here. This one, for me, is more easily noticeable than some of the others. We've all experienced that feeling of having a lump in your throat. And it wasn't until I started really honoring my relationship with my body and honoring all the things that my body tells me about myself and the world and my experiences, I started noticing how my throat chakra will close. Like that lump in my throat means I'm not saying something that needs to be said. And sometimes that's quite literal and verbal. Like I'm literally choking back something that I would like to say because for any reason, it could be a million reasons. And sometimes it's come up when it's just something that I'm not admitting to myself, which is the scariest one. It's not necessarily always something that needs to be said, but it's sometimes, we choke things off. We choke things back. When you have a lump in your throat, ask yourself, what am I not saying? Sometimes I've been moved to tears just from that process, noticing the lump in my throat and asking myself, what am I not saying? There have been times where just tuning in that way has moved me to tears and helped move that blockage out. Every time you have a lump in your throat, it should be honored. I need another word. Taken seriously. It should be taken seriously. Your body's telling you something. Next, we have the third eye, which is in the forehead. It's like in our head. It looks after the brain, eyes, ears, and nose, and the neurological system in general. It helps teach us how to heal ourselves and change our lives through our own willpower. This is the chakra that gives us intuition and connection to wisdom and higher awareness. When blocked, it can cause or manifest in like a lack of clarity, an inability to see past the current problems, feeling really stuck or feeling really disconnected from yourself when you're blocked off from that third eye knowing, that third eye chakra. And then finally, the crown chakra looks after the upper brain, and this one specifically is said to be correlated with the nervous system, and the chakra system in general is also a reflection of the nervous system. So the crown chakra helps connect us to higher states of awareness. So and like tapping into source energy, spirit, universal consciousness, God. If the third eye chakra helps connect us to our self, the crown chakra helps connect us to that which is greater. When blocked, it can cause or manifest through like closed-mindedness, feeling really disconnected from your spirit or God's spirit in general. It can cause us to really be living in the head and really being in our brain chemistry and fear-based and disconnected from our body, from our soul, from our self. So, those are the chakras in a nutshell. Again, I'm just barely scratching the surface. Here's the medicine. Let me take a sip. Here's where the work is. With water and macchiato are necessary. Okay. Here's where the work is. I want you to honor. I need new words, and that's kind of the best word for it. Honoring these processes, honoring this magic that exists within you. I think it's a shame that like school is so boring and we're so young when we're really taught this stuff. For most of us, right? I don't know. I guess I'll speak for myself. I was bored of this stuff. I didn't care about this stuff when I was in school. And considering it now that I'm a real life human adult and I have to navigate this world as an adult, knowing this, I hold my body with such reverence. And I think you deserve to do the same. Your nervous system, your brain, every single reaction that you have, that you do, every emote that you do, deserves to be honored. It comes from a very sacred, ancient system that's only working to try to protect you. You're only trying to respond and adapt to what you're sensing and what is coming up for you. Every single reaction that you have, everything you do, even the not cute stuff, you can look at and honor. It doesn't mean like being complicit or like writing off where your reactions are shitty. You're still called to take responsibility for yourself, and like hopefully my hope for you is that you can let go of judgment or worry or feeling like you're weird, like whatever. You can let go of those things. I want to encourage you to really tend to your energy. Don't dismiss anything. Don't dismiss It's everything is data. Every reaction that you have is data. Every time there's a lump in your throat, it's data. Every time you're constipated or literally fed up, like what are you holding on to? What are you not letting go of? Are you exhaling fully? Every crick in your neck, every time your jaw is sore, every headache, it's all data. Don't dismiss anything. All of your emotional reactions, everything that comes up for you, it's telling you something. It's a reaction to something. Obstacles, obstacles and inconveniences are just little clues that are telling you that something needs to be adjusted. Something is off. Something's not quite what you need it to be. So when something comes up physically or emotionally, that feels like an obstacle, consider it data and consider how you can use that obstacle to move from there. So whether that's like something comes up for you physically, or mentally, or like tangibly an obstacle like in the physical world, just consider it a clue that something's off about this. Maybe you need to be delayed 10 minutes to avoid what would be a massive car crash. Maybe, whatever, I don't know. Obstacles are just, it's all there to support you. It's all there to help you, ultimately. I want to encourage you to meditate and tune in and spend time just being with your body and being with yourself and observing what is coming up for you. Honor your impulses. That doesn't mean to be impulsive, but honor your impulses. What comes up for you? What are you thinking? What do you want to do? That doesn't mean if you have the impulse to punch a wall, you punch a wall, but honor the fact that that impulse came up for you and move from there. That doesn't mean punch a wall, but it does mean like acknowledging like, oh my God, I'm so mad. And then you can adjust from there. You can move from there. Focus on where you do have control. A lot of these processes, this system is not in your control, right? It happens automatically. And don't underestimate how much control you do have. You have so much control. You have so much power, especially when you embrace the power, when you really tune into where you can the ways that you can control and honor your body. And those abilities look different for everybody. Our body's abilities look different for everybody. Everybody is differently abled. And you have so much control. The food that you eat can be medicine or it cannot. It can be really harmful. The things that you participate in, you have so much control over how your body is showing up in the world and how connected you are to yourself and the world around you. You can really harness tons of control and power over your being, yourself. So hold sovereign your intuition and your ability to be confident in how you are responding and reacting, how you are tending to your nervous system, and honor or hold sovereign the ways that you can protect yourself and protect your energy and to a point. Right? To a certain extent, we can protect ourselves from things that are harmful for us, whether that's harmful relationships, toxic relationships or activities, or, there's always going to be shit that comes up for us. There's always going to be shit in our lives. And we can really protect ourselves against shit being smeared all over our nervous system. God, why? Ay, ay, ay. I hope you know what I mean. We can protect ourselves against toxicity and stuff that really um, impairs our sense of sovereignty and security and comfort and pleasure. So some witchy stuff. I'm going to share some of the ways that I am pretty witchy with myself and with my system. And this practice needs to be yours. So I really encourage you to just be with yourself and be with your reactions and consider how sacred all of your impulses and reactions are and how they come from a very primal, organic place. The more you can honor that and be with that yourself, the more you'll be able to make this practice your own. But to get you started, here are some ideas. First of all, it's important to consider that we have a brain that is boring and very adult, and a part of our brain really questions whether things like magic is real and whether intentions will even help. A big part of our brain really doubts some of this stuff. And we also have an inner child. We have a piece of ourselves that is connected to magic and that absolutely wants to believe that magic is real. And I think I was trying to look, but I think it's in the one book that I borrowed from somebody and had to give back. I think I first really heard of this in the book called Spiral Dance by Starhawk. It's a very Wiccan book. But if that's where it came from, I don't know where it came from. I heard this theory or this idea, this call for us to honor our inner child when we're doing witchy stuff, when we're doing magic, when we're setting intentions. So, because our inner child is more connected to magic and more open to magic being real and more open to us having power over our lives, and it's our brain, it's our adult boring brain that's really disconnected from all of that. We have a witch wound. Again, take what you need from this and leave the rest. If this isn't quite jiving with you, listen all the way and take what you need and leave the rest. Totally fine if you're not a super witchy person. Hopefully this can still be somewhat valuable. Our inner child likes play. It likes things that's why we use some witches will use rhymes in their spells, and the belief is that that's because a part of us can connect more with things like rhymes. Some people use different colored candles, different smells and different herbs, different tools, different crystals, something. Again, the word pure is coming up. Something very pure and innocent in us connects to that sort of witchy stuff in a way that our very logical brain just won't or can't. So I really like to use my imagination. I think it's really important to engage your imagination, and in terms of tending to your nervous system, I think it's a really awesome start. So, one thing that I know I've described before that I do a lot is if I'm feeling overwhelmed or if I find myself, my thoughts are just scattered and I'm thinking about the dishes in the sink downstairs and I'm thinking about that guy from work and, oh, I need to call my mom and, oh, I wonder if my sister's okay. I need to pay that bill, blah, 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 right? We have a million things on our mind at any given moment sometimes. And when I've had myself really wrapped up in all of that, I will picture a beam of light that goes from my brain, so 30 beams of light that go from my brain to the sink downstairs, to my mom's house, to that guy from work, and to my sister, and to the credit card company. I imagine the energy that is going from my brain to those things. I picture that beam of light, if you will, and I inhale. And as I inhale, I imagine those beams of light all coming back into my brain. From that energy is no longer with the bill collector and my mom and the guy and blah, blah, blah. It's coming back into my brain. And then I exhale and I like push that white light, that energy, that prana, down into my feet, and I reclaim it. It's my energy again. It really helps. I know one woman who's very like sparkly and magical, and I was not surprised to hear this. She, every morning when she wakes up, she imagines a cloud just above her that is raining golden glitter light all over her, and she breathes in this golden glitter light like the little 6-year-old princess that exists within her somewhere, and she imagines this glitter light filling her with whatever it is she needs. I think it's the same thing as when people pray to God, and I was taught to pray and imagine, God's light surrounding me when I was afraid or when I needed support, or imagining Jesus literally in the car next to me helping me drive. Those were things I was taught, and it helps. It helps so many people. The concept of prayer and imagery applies here. So things like when you breathe, imagining that prana and that energy, inviting supportive energy to tend your nervous system and engage your parasympathetic nervous system to bring you back to calm and homeostasis. Imagine the breath tumbling through your body, tumbling through the chakras, cleansing the chakras, opening you up. Imagine those chakras being open and all the colors of light just moving and working within you and out of you. When you take a sip of water, imagine the water nourishing your organs and filling you up. And water is one of the 4 major elements, and it's life force energy too. As you massage yourself, you can really use imagery to tend to your nervous system and yourself and your body. Tending to all of the cricks in your body, tending to the energy that you're holding and putting out there. I think using really witchy imagery is such a valuable way to practice this, to tend to your nervous system. Again, a lot of it we obviously don't have any control over, which is amazing. And don't underestimate how much control you do have. You can really harness a sense of ease and a sense of power over your nervous system and your reactions to things and your impulses. I hope this was helpful. Let me know in the group. Let me know in the coaching call later this week. Let me know how you're experimenting with this. I'd love to hear from you. I'll talk to you soon. Take care of yourself. Honor yourself. It's your big work for this week, okay? All right. Take care. Bye.